Hey everybody, this is Sal Vito again. Now that my throat's cleared, I can speak a little louder, but I prefer not to because I just don't like talking loud. Anyway, my review is on Resident Evil 6. I had just gotten done playing the game, and ultimately, it sucks. It really does. I'm not just saying this because other people said it. This game gets bashed on quite a bit, and this is one of few cases where I actually agree. Because, well, I'll start off by saying the camera is positioned way too close to the player, and it makes it just hard to see. You try to move it around, and you really can't see anything with the camera jammed up in your face like that. Also, I'm going to start with Leon's campaign to talk about. Well, his campaign is basically the only campaign that comes close to its survival horror roots. Um, his partner's name is Helena Harper. Um, they're looking for her missing sister. The campaign starts out pretty good, but I mean, it seems like it could be the only perfect one, but you get to the ending, and Leon has to fight this guy named Derek C. Simmons, and well, here's just the bad thing. He doesn't die initially. He every time you get him back to his human form and beat the shit out of him, he mutates back into this giant monster, and you have to fight him like 6 times, and the boss fight's just overall pathetic. There's no thought to it. He's just this mutated creature. It's just no fun. I mean, I mean, of course there's zombies, and Resident Evil is supposed to be a survival horror, but I don't think it doesn't feel like survival horror to me. It feels more like some mindless action wannabe movie. Anyway, that's Leon's campaign. Then we got Chris Redfield's campaign, which is pretty bad. It doesn't even feel like Resident Evil. He starts out with this guy named Piers Nibbins, and Chris is apparently recovering from some delusional trauma that he lost his men to this clone of Ada, and he wants her dead ever since then. But the gameplay just starts out pathetic. He fights these mutated creatures on these roofs with his men. It's just over and over, and a barrage of quick time events. I don't know if it was just me, because in Leon's campaign there weren't that many, but in Chris's there were quite a bit. Also, I mean, his boss fight isn't as bad as Leon's because it's actually interesting to see him run away. That's my opinion. Um, but the ending where he has to run to this sub and Piers literally rips his own arm off. Spoiler alert. Cover your ears if you don't want to hear this. He rips his arm off and injects himself with the C virus to help Chris. What the fuck? The fuck were you planning? I mean, I know he got pinned and he couldn't move. He had to rip off his arm. But you injected yourself with the C virus. That's just overkill. But overall, the campaign sucked. It didn't feel like Resident Evil. It felt more like some mindless third-person shooter. Then we got Jake Mueller's campaign, which I kind of enjoyed to a point because you get to use melee moves, and I honestly, in this game, prefer using punches, melees, kicks, all that, instead of guns. Using guns in this game feels kind of useless because it seems to just make the creatures mutate, while hitting them doesn't. But Jake's partnered with Resident Evil 2 veteran Sherry Birkin, who is supposed to be the artificial intelligence, and is asking that Jake donate his blood to her. He demands a ransom of $50 million for 1 pint. Well, his game starts out pretty good, but it just slowly declines throughout. They're being pursued by this giant monster, Ustanak, I think the name is. I don't really know how to pronounce it. But he just is almost indestructible. I mean, he actually says he's indestructible at some point, but it feels like he's indestructible. And you just shoot at him, throw grenades, beat him, whatever, and he never dies until the end, where he falls into lava. And even then, he's still barely alive, and he finally dies with a shot to the heart. What the fuck? Just what the fuck? I'm able to shoot him in the fucking head with a remote bomb. Well, not shoot, I'm gonna say blow him up with, but I landed one on his head somehow. Don't ask me how, I don't know. But he, I use all these weapons on him, yet he gets shot by, I think it was Sherry, I don't remember which one it was, Sherry or Jake, but he got shot in the heart with one bullet. I mean, it was probably his weak spot, but it was just ridiculous. Really was. All that and one bullet kills him. That's bullshit. And it's just as bad as Chris's. Finally, we unlock Ada Wong's campaign, and I personally don't like Ada. I mean, she doesn't have a partner, but her campaign is probably the worst, in my opinion. It's just a monotony of run around, do this puzzle, do that puzzle, without any thinking. She fights both the zombies and the Yabo motherfuckers, whatever they're called, I don't know. But there's no thought to it whatsoever. It's just pointless. She's going against Simmons, and Leon ends up coming to her aid, and they seemingly take down Simmons, but Simmons just, like I said in Leon's campaign earlier, he just does not die. Anyway, she goes to this lab and destroys all these memories of Simmons because they hate each other. And the game ends after that, and you're not allowed to run. Well, now that I reviewed the campaigns, I'm going to point out a few other flaws about the game. Well, I'll say that one thing I really do hate is how you literally get the controller taken out of your hands at some points. Um, you for example, there's some parts where you can't even move your character. You can only walk them so slowly, and just it's just weird for one, and for another reason, why bother? We want to control our characters. We don't want other people doing it. I mean, what the fuck? How is this supposed to be authentic? Am I supposed to be watching a movie or playing a video game? Honest to God, how? Well, it's just really messed up. So, the game overall is terrible, and I wouldn't recommend it. If you do like it, good for you. I respect your opinion. If you don't like it, rage on with me. But that's my review on Resident Evil 6. I am Sal Vito, and see y'all later.